I've been surrounded by bookshelves and different ideas for as long as I can remember, and I've got my parents to thank for that. And funny enough, I'm here today because of them, and also because of literature. My parents met in college, but my mom's original plan was setting up my dad with her friend, and in the process of doing so, she found herself in his apartment, and there she also found a pile of Scientific American magazines she also had, and some of Neruda's poetry books, and all the other repeats that are now side by side in our bookshelves. From a very early age, I was taught to formulate my own ideas and thoughts, and to think for myself, which today has allowed me to make my own choices and my own decisions, and actually think about what I'm doing before I'm doing it. We've become a postmodern, consumerist world, a society of the masses, and I'm standing here today because I want to convince you to plunge yourself into culture and history instead of entertainment and media, and to become thinking as an individual instead of thinking as a whole. We're all slowly becoming parts of something bigger. We're in a society that screams out at us, ignorance is better, ignorance is strength, and the less you know, the less trouble you'll go through. The less ideas you have, the less people with opposing ones you'll run into. I think it's kind of like Huxley's Brave New World or Orwell's 1984. We're stuck in a society full of clones. We're all the same person. The personal sense of each individual is becoming blurry. We've got the same profile page and the same social media website, and we all go home after school just to do the same things over and over. We usually agree with our friends, and sometimes we discuss things like politics, which are just two opposing views, and we just have to choose one and take sides. We're not taught to think for ourselves, to formulate our own ideas. We're becoming completely dependent on media, on who posted what and where. And if we don't see it online, did it even happen? Our generation thrives on getting responses immediately, so if we want to ask a question that isn't answered in Google's top searches, is it even worth asking? Most of us aren't being taught to reach farther than what we know, to question authorities, to step out of the boundaries set and sometimes enforced by leaders and countries. And honestly, I think that these are crucial and essential points for a society to prosper. The power of the idea of modernism comes from the wish to erase everything that came before it. Various theorists from the last century argue that only if a society forgets everything that occurred before, they will be able to create a new working society, which goes hand in hand with today's ignorance is bliss ideology, which I completely disagree with, since I think the only way to reach out for something better is to acknowledge the mistakes that we've made in the past. My argument is that literature, as well as art and history and other humanities, all contribute to building individual subjective minds that eventually can and will work as a human antidote against this culture we're living in. I think that these things trigger emotions, wishes, and thoughts that, on the contrary to most things in our lives, aren't controlled by society. And because of this, I really think that this personal and private space between the individual and the work of art or of literature, of whatever it may be, must be conserved.